Chag Sameach, happy Passover. Please take your seats because we have a time in which we must end. We don't want to be blamed for having a too long of a service tonight. But to achieve that, we have to start on time, or at least. No yelling. Shabbat Shalom, happy Passover, good Yom Tov. The tradition at our temple is to begin each and every Passover with a shot of horseradish vodka. The vodka cannot be regular vodka made of grain because it's not kosher. So it happened to be made of corn, which is perfectly fine. We made it here. We're really proud of it. You drink it and you said, whoa, I don't want to touch this stuff for at least a year. But then you come back and we do it. So let's have some of this horseradish vodka as we say, L'chaim. Yeah.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. Sing it with us.
הנה מה טוב
ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is,
how good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. How good it is,
how good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is,
how good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. I want to hear everyone this time. How good it is,
how good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
And there is a beautiful tradition before Shabbat, but especially before important holidays. parents take the opportunity to bless their children. So I would like to invite children to find their parents. I see here several, even 3 generations of parents, grandparents, and children. The way we do it is placing our hands. Oh, I lost my child. Oh, child, I need to demonstrate. So we place our hands on our children's head. I like to close my eyes first and just offer a blessing that comes from my heart. And then continue with the traditional blessing. Yevarchecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and protect you. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May God's light shine upon you and be gracious to you. Isa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May you always know that God is with you, and may God bless you with shalom, with wholeness and peace, as we all say, Amen. And don't forget the Passover kiss. Mwah! I'm okay, more than okay. And after enjoying our children, I'm going to ask you a question that none of you will know the answer. I mean, you'll know many answers, but not the correct one. What's going to happen exactly 20 years from now? The answer that I am looking for is, in 20 years will be the next time Passover happens to fall on Shabbat. Okay, so we have to wait 20 years, if you like that. Now, for observant Jews, it's a very big challenge, because when we have Shabbat and then we have a holiday, people cannot cook for 3 days. It's very hard to prepare for it. But for the purpose of tonight, there is a special way in which we combine 3 different rituals. Havdalah. Havdalah is the ceremony that we recite at the end of Shabbat, the end of a festival that separates the holiness of Shabbat from the ordinary of the rest of the week. So this is Havdalah, and this is the end of Shabbat. We are going to do it. But what comes next is not just a regular day, it's a holy day. So we separate between holy, or the holiness of Shabbat, and the holiness of the festival. But we also, for Havdalah, we use wine. And for Passover Seder, we use a lot of wine. So we combine the wine of the Havdalah with the wine of Passover. The same is for the candles. We normally light holiday, festival candles, but not tonight. We light them as Havdalah/holiday candles. So you don't have to remember, because in 20 years I'll remind you exactly how to do it. But this is, yes, it has even an acronym, Yaknahaz. You're not going... Yes, and this is a difficult test, a difficult question in tests about the Jewish law. So here's what you're going to do. First, I would like you to pour some wine into your glasses. You can use red wine, you can use white wine. You can use grape juice. And then I would like to ask a person at each table to light the candles in front of you. Okay, so we have the wine. Please light the candles. And we are going to continue with this rare Jewish practice of combining Havdalah, candles, and the first Passover Seder's cup of wine. The first thing we're going to do is the wine, but listen carefully. Seder is partly an exercise in controlling your impulses. So you're going to stir at food, but you're not going to eat it yet. We're going to recite the blessing over the wine, but today you're not drinking it yet. So we say the blessing, you put the wine down until we finish all the 5 steps. If it doesn't make sense, just trust us that we follow an old tradition. Wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen. Wine down on the tables, no drinking, as we continue now with the Kiddush for Passover.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am ורוממנו מכל לשון וקידשנו במצוותיו ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה מועדים לשמחה חגים וזמנים לששון את יום חג המצות הזה זמן חירותנו מקרא קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ומועדי קודשך בשמחה ובששון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש ישראל והזמנים.
No drinking yet. We continue with the candles, but we are saying the blessing of the Havdalah. So as we say the blessing for the light, we look at our fingernails to use the light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
borei meorei ha'esh borei meorei ha'esh
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ha'amavdil bein kodesh lekodesh
המבדיל בין קודש לקודש ידי
And the first step is Shehecheyanu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. אמן. One more time, sing it with us.
And this is time to drink the first cup, L'chaim.
Time.
Here is the system of the wine. You have wine on your tables, and we have extra wine and grape juice on the small white tables across the room. So where you see these square tables, there's always extra wine, extra food on them, and grape juice should you need some. Okay, ready for a little icebreaker because some of you don't know everyone around the table. Here is the question today. How many non-food uses for matzah can you think of? Take 11 seconds to think about it and share the answer with the people next to you. Am I yelling already? Oh, not yet. All yours. Oh, where's that? Does anyone want to share an answer with us? The most creative answer, Nico. I wish my ears were so good that I could hear you. So since you are young and energetic.
The sun.
The sun. You created the sun from matzah. A matzah sun. Thank you. Anyone else wants to share? A frisbee. Frisbee, a breakable frisbee. Can you hear, Ron? Oh. Are you telling me that it's too hot here now? Is it too hot? Yeah, it's too hot? Because I always complain it's too hot, no matter what the temperature is. You know what? If somebody wants, please come here and grab the mic, because especially if you're younger than 17. Hey, come here. Come here. We saw you moving. Come here.
Our table had a clever idea of making a paper mache birdhouse out of matzah.
Wow, that's good. The birdhouse. Now we know what to do with the leftovers matzah. Wow, that's good. Okay. Okay, one more.
Kitty litter.
Kitty litter?
Kitty litter.
Kitty litter? Oh, of course you don't know her. I wouldn't have known. Thank you for your creativity. Okay, time to get into the more serious stuff of Passover. Every year I try to understand for myself and then to explain to my guest how to look at Passover in a different way. This year, I want you to think about two ideas. First of all, the very first Passover. The ancient Passover celebrations required only two items. One was matzah, right, which was cheap and available. All you need for a matzah is some flour and water. You mix them together, you put them on the communal oven, and 18 minutes later, you have this flat bread. With the matzah, to remember that our ancestors, before they left Egypt, they didn't have time to wait for the bread to rise. So they just put this dough in the oven, picked it, and started to run. The second item is more interesting because we don't use it today, is the lamb. People used to eat the Paschal lamb. Even when we say the word Pesach, which is Passover in Hebrew, Pesach meant the Paschal lamb. And why is that? Because before God inflicted the Egyptians with the last plague, the killing of the firstborn, God told the people of Israel to smear some blood on their doorposts. For the blood, they needed to have a lamb. And why is that? God told them that when the angel who was supposed to perform the 10 plagues, when the angel sees the blood on the doorposts, he would know to pass over this house, right? To skip the house of the people of Israel. That's the meaning of the word Pesach or Passover, pass over. The angel passed over the houses of the Hebrews and kept them alive. So since then, Passover lamb is a symbol of the connection of the covenant between God and the people of Israel. But something changed dramatically, especially after the destruction of the Second Temple almost 2,000 years ago, at the year of 70. No more sacrifices, no more Paschal lamb. And that was more or less the beginning of the Seder the way we know it today. So instead of having only two items and eating matzah and lamb, the rabbis needed to substitute it in different ways. And I will use this opportunity to introduce the Seder plate. Now, the rabbis wanted to achieve two tasks that normally don't smoothly go together. One is to remember and even reenact the life of the poor slaves in Egypt. And at the same time, they wanted to reenact themselves living as free people and even living like royalty. Now, the truth is that the ancient Hebrews back then were much more familiar with the life of poor peasants than with the life of aristocracy, so they did the best they could. So to replace the Paschal lamb, they required two cooked items. When you look at the Passover plate there, you see an egg and you see the shank bone. Okay, the shank bone is a reminder of the Paschal lamb. We don't eat it. If you are super hungry, still don't eat the shank bone. You can eat the egg. Why egg? I can give you all the stories, but in my opinion, because it was the cheapest protein they could find. I know prices of eggs went up recently, but that's a recent thing. Okay, so the shank bone, which by the way in Israel we use chicken wings because we call it zroa. We call it an arm, so it looks like muscles, right? God used God's power, God's muscle to free us. So these are these two items, egg and the shank bone or the chicken wing, whatever you want, as two cooked items to replace the Paschal lamb. We have the green leaf because the rabbi thought that sophisticated people, like the Romans at the time, like to have some hors d'oeuvres before they eat. How do you eat hors d'oeuvres? You take something green and you dip it in something and you eat. Not so much different than the way we do it today. Some people use parsley. Some people use some other thing. This parsley is taken from the one school garden and it's really wonderful. We need the maror. Maror is the bitter herb that is meant to remind us of the bitter life of the slaves in Egypt. And charoset is the sweet part. So every yucky stuff, as I explained to the kids, has a yummy thing. So charoset is the yucky thing. The maror, the bitter herb, is the yucky thing. The charoset, the sweet, wonderful thing, is the sweet thing. In many recent years, we add another item to the Passover plate. For many years, people used to add an orange. Orange symbolized women in Judaism because finally, after 2,000 years, women were allowed to become cantors, rabbis, clergy leaders in the Jewish community. But it started with the orange because one smart rabbi said that when women becomes rabbis or cantors, he will put an orange on a Seder plate. So for years we did it, but now we sort of take it for granted. Probably many kids don't know that a cantor can be a man, but we will fix it tonight, later on today. Tonight we decided to have a lemon. It's not our original idea. We are celebrating tonight, talking about how free we are, but there are still 59 people in captivity in Gaza. And we cannot forget it, because if we want to be honest, we have to remember it. The other day I listened to an interview that probably some of you listened with Rachel Goldberg, the mother of Hirsch Goldberg, who was murdered by Hamas. And she asked to put a lemon on the plate. She said, the lemon is sour. We cannot have a complete, happy, joyous celebration when 59 of our people are still in Gaza, treated much worse than the Israelites, the ancient Israelites, were treated back then. So we placed the lemon this year to remember and to do all that we can for their quick release from captivity. So we did that, and oh, that's yours.
Is this familiar to anybody here? So this part's the familiar part. It's the order of the Seder. The word Seder itself means the order. So we're going to sing it one time through, but then I'm going to teach you a little bit of something new. Kadesh urchatz, karpas yachatz, magid rachza, motzi matzah, maror korech, shulchan orech, tzafun barech, halel nirtzah. I know some of you are facing away from me, but I'm a big believer that we've got to move around a little bit during the Seder, right? We're doing a lot of sitting. So if you have your hands in front of you ready to go, you're going to need your hands for the next part. And this, I hope, is going to help you remember every part of the Seder, because we're adding some action into the song itself. So everyone can see me. If you can't, feel free to spin around. Oh, I love that. So yeah, if you can see me, wave your hands. All right, for Kadesh, we're going to hold up our Kiddush cup. Yep, hold up your Kiddush cup. Kadesh. Orchatz is the first hand washing, so go ahead and wash your hands. The motion of washing your hands. All right, so we've got Kadesh, Orchatz. Karpas is our green vegetable, so take it into your bowl of salt water, and you're going to dip it twice. Karpas, right? One for each syllable. Karpas. Yachatz is the breaking of the middle matzah, so do your best karate chop of a matzah in half. Yeah, make it as dramatic as you can. All right, let's put them all together. Kadesh, Orchatz, Karpas, Yachatz. Magid is the telling of the story, so grab your talkers and talk to the people around you and talk to yourself a little bit. Magid, Rachza, the second washing of hands with the blessing. Same motion. All right, let's put it together. Kadesh, Orchatz, Karpas, Yachatz. Magid, Rachza. Now here's the motzi. Motzi matzah goes together. Motzi, you're pulling the bread from the earth. Motzi, and then make yourself a matzah, a square matzah, or a circular matzah if you like circular matzah. Okay, so we got motzi, matzah. We're gonna do maror. We're gonna make it a little spicy. Maror. Korech is where we build our Hillel sandwich. Korech, build it up high. Okay, let's do it all together. Kadesh, Orchatz, Karpas, Yachatz, Magid, Rachza, Motzi, Matzah, Maror, Korech. Here comes the meal, so let's rub our stomach. Shulchan Orech. Tzafun is looking for the afikomen. And we're going to get to all these parts tonight, so I hope you remember. Tzafun, Barech, a prayer hands for a blessing after the meal. Barech, Hallel, put your hands up like a hallelujah. Woo. Hallel. And Nirtzah, you're going to fold your arms and you're going to put your back a little bit like you're done. And that's you're done, right at the end of Seder. Okay, ready to put the whole thing together? Is it helping you remember a little bit more? All right, here we go. Kadesh, Orchatz, Karpas, Yachatz, Magid, Rachza, Motzi, Matzah, Maror, Korech, Shulchan Orech, Tzafun, Barech, Hallel, Nirtzah. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for participating.
You know, there are many things that we learn from the curriculum of the one school, of our preschool. So this is their song, but we thought, wow, that's really good. We really enjoy doing it ourselves, and it's wonderful. So the next, we already did the Kadesh with the Avdallah, explained the whole thing, and we do the Urchatz now, which means washing our hands. We wash our hands twice. First time, don't get excited about eating yet. Second time, you're about 4 minutes before food, okay? But this is still the first time. So why are we washing our hands the first time? We wash it without a blessing before we eat the karpas, the green food. There are many different explanations. The one that I like the best this year is that it meant to encourage people to ask, what are we doing here? Because back then they never washed their hands unless they had bread. Okay, Jews always wash their hands before a meal, but meal without the bread is not a meal. So the kids are supposed to ask, why are we washing our hands before we eat some parsley? It really makes absolutely sense. It makes no sense, and it gives us an opportunity to teach them. So you don't all have the water and the thing I do, so I'm going to wash my hand. And the second stage of our Seder is done. Karpas. Do you have some green vegetables, celery, parsley, whatever it is? How many of you grew up using a potato for that? I know I'm calling it green, but in my house, we grew up using a potato. You too, Carol? Yeah, I don't know. Some people use potato. Probably in Europe, I don't know. It was hard to find something green. Now, this is beautiful, this is nice, this is spring, right? It looks like a little tree saying hello to us. But we don't simply enjoy the green vegetable on its own. We dip it in salt water. And salt water, as we taught the kids the other day, think about it as a tear soup. Because when the people of Israel were slaves, they cried a lot. So when we look at the salt water, it's like the salty tears. So this is the tear soup, and we dip the green vegetables. But of course, before we eat, we say the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri ha'adamah.
Betavon. Now, the way to survive the next 30 minutes or so is to eat something. So we have a lot of stuff on the table. First, please don't eat the matzah yet, because the tradition is to eat the matzah towards the end after we're saying the blessing for the matzah. Instead, we have some crackers. We have other things. We have stuff from the One School Garden. We have chopped liver from the kitchen of Bruce. We have some other things. So just eat a little bit as we continue with our Seder. Maybe we'll give you a full minute just to grab some food, and then we will continue. Okay, moving along to the next step of our Seder. I ask you not to eat the matzah, but we're going to use the matzah for the next step of the Seder. There are 15 steps for the Seder. Most of them take about 40 seconds to perform, but one takes much longer. I would like to ask a volunteer from each table to take the middle matzah. You have no matzah? Oh, I apologize for that. Karen, on the table behind you, there is a bag of matzah, or supposed to be. Or, okay, so let's take the middle matzah. And the word yachatz, as we learned from Cantor Marcy, means, oh yeah, it's good to open the matzah if you didn't do it yet. And we're going to break it in two halves. Many people believe that it's one of the impossible tasks to fulfill. You can never break a matzah into two equal halves. If you happen to be successful doing it, you will get a prize, extra matzah. One part of it we hide for afikoman, and the other one we do other things with. Okay, so you perform the act of yachatz, broke the meat, and now we continue with the part of Magid. Magid means telling. Remember the hand motion of talking, telling the story of the Exodus. We begin with one of the oldest songs we have in the Agada. It's called Halachmania. We know it's so old because it's written not in Hebrew but in Aramaic. We call the matzah bread of poverty. In English, in Aramaic, it's lachma anya.
Halachma anya diachalu achalu avhatana be'ara be'ara demitzrayim be'ara be'ara demitzrayim. Let's read together.
Let's read together. This is the flat, plain bread that our ancestors ate when they were slaves in the land of Egypt. Remembering the poor food of slaves, tonight we welcome anyone who is hungry to come and eat at the Passover meal with us.
Now we are here. Next year we hope to be in the land of Israel. Now we are slaves.
Next year may we all be free.
Halachma anya diachalu achalu avatana be'ara be'ara demitzrayim be'ara be'ara demitzrayim.
And we're going to follow an ancient custom that Jews of Syria used to practice. They would take the Seder plate, and I believe that all of you have a Seder plate at the table. So we need a volunteer to take it, to get up, and to walk with her the Seder plate, and ritually pretending to place it on each and every person's head. Something like that. Don't place it on the head. Don't break it on anyone's head. Just gently.
Halachma anya diachalu achalu avhatana be'ara be'ara demitzrayim be'ara be'ara demitzrayim.
Wait, we'll tell him.
Be'ara be'ara demitzrayim. Bonus points if you didn't spill anything from the Seder plate.
Thank you for your cooperation. We're arriving now at the part of the 4 questions. The 4 questions became a staple of every Passover Seder. But when you study the origin of the Seder, actually there were only 3 questions originally, and we were not supposed to ask them. What the Mishnah that was written about 1800 years told us was that a main part of the Seder is encouraging our children to ask questions. So as long as we have children who ask questions, we don't really need the 4 questions. But then the Mishnah said, if you happen to have very shy, quiet children, here is a sample of 3 questions that later on grew into 4. But today I don't believe you can have a Seder without singing the Manishtana, the 4 questions, and we're not going to deviate from the custom tonight.
We need some help from our young members of the community here tonight. Any children who want to help with the 4 questions, come on up. We need you.
Who knows it really well?
I do.
The 4 questions.
Now it's on. Now it's on. I think I do. I think I do. I don't. Emma, I know. I forgot.
Okay.
Do you want me to take this one?
If you want. All right. Ready? We'll face everyone. You can sing together. Here we go. Ready? Manishtana halayla hazeh mikol haleilot shebechol haleilot anu ochlin chametzu matzah halayla hazeh kulo matzah halayla hazeh kulo matzah shebechol haleilot anu ochlin she'ar yerakot halayla hazeh maror
Halayla kaza. Halayla
maror shebechol haleilot einanu matbilin afilu pa'am echad
Halayla hazeh. Halayla hazeh.
shetei fe'amim
Halayla hazeh. Halayla hazeh.
shetei fe'amim shebechol haleilot anu ochlin ben yoshvinu vein mesubin. Lean to your left. Ben yoshvinu vein mesubin. Halayla hazeh kulanu mesubin. Halayla hazeh kulanu mesubin. Thank you from all of our. Is this the youngest of everyone? Very nice. Very nice.
I'll take the red. Thank you. So these were the 4 questions that we started to answer already, and hopefully by the end of the night, you will be completely satisfied with decent answers. The ancient rabbis were quite sensitive to the fact that there are different kinds of learners. There are different types of people who learn differently, who have different interests, who have different inclinations. And it's known as the 4 children of the Haggadah. What messed it up is the translation. Let me talk about these 4 children. And I want you to remember, forget about the titles, because it was very clear to the ancient rabbis and to us today that each one of us, at least at times, is one of these 4 types. So the 4th child that the rabbis were talking about is the wise child, the chacham. What does it mean to be wise? The way they understood the wise is a person who wants to know everything. A person who is not satisfied with some talking heads on TV and some headlines of newspapers. It's a person who really wants to understand. So if you talk about a complex subject, let's say, of global warming, that person wants to read scientific papers. This person wants to understand the financial ramification. That person wants to know the ethical dimensions of global warming and not just some slogans here and there. What do you do with the wise person? You give them all the information possible. And today I would advise the information is there for everyone to get. The challenge is to know what to be careful of, what kind of sources are not reliable. But the Chacham just wants to have the entire dimension of the complexity of the issue. Let me elaborate a little bit more about the second child. We call it him or her, the Rasha, the wicked one. It's not a wicked one. Let me illustrate that child. Exactly a week ago, last Sunday, I did a wedding, and at the end of the wedding, one of the bridesmaids came to me and said, Rabbi, I know that you really want to go, but I must ask you a question. And how can you say no to a bridesmaid, right? I was sure that she would ask me something about a wedding or something like that. Instead, she said, I have a problem this year to celebrate Passover. I said, what are you talking about? She said, with everything that is happening in the world, everything that is happening, especially in Israel after October 7th, all the hostages who are still there, I feel that it's really hypocritical thing for me to celebrate, to talk about freedom, to enjoy with my family. It doesn't work out for me. This is the kind of a rasha. This is the wicked person. It's completely not wicked. But it's a person who is not afraid to question. A person who is not afraid to tell us that there is a contradiction between what we teach them and the reality. A person who just wants to be honest, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually honest with themselves. So that was an excellent question. I gave her an answer that I'm not very proud of, but that's the best I could. I said, if you will not celebrate Passover, you will let the bad guys win completely. But I wish I had a better answer. I completely understood where she came from, because sometimes I feel the same. I don't want just people to give me some nonsense answer that conflict with a lot of what I know and believe. So this is the second one, the challenging one. The third child, we call him or her the Tam. Again, awful translation. We call them the simple guy, but that person is not simple. That person sometimes, as we all do, need a simple answer to a question. None of us can be an expert in everything. And sometimes all we need is the idiot guide to whatever it is. No, this is a great series of books, The Idiot Guide for Something. There's good. We cannot be expert. We cannot just go as deep as possible with everything, but we want to know a lot about many things. And sometimes, a short book about it, even the Oxford Press has this whole series, a very short introduction to whatever it is, because sometimes that's all we need. And the fourth child is the child who doesn't even know how to ask. Why would be a person wouldn't know how to ask? I can tell you there are many. I'll just talk about the Jewish people. They were born Jewish. Some of them may or may not had a bar bat mitzvah, but they've been so disconnected for so many years, they're just embarrassed. They're afraid that if they ask a question, people around them will think that they're stupid, and they just prefer to keep their mouth shut. What are we doing with a child like that? We encourage them to ask questions. We start by saying, do you want to really know why we're having shankbone on the plate? And it helps to start a conversation. 4 children. Do we have something to illustrate? No, we took it out. The main part of the Agada is to tell the story of the Exodus. Who were here last night when I spoke at services? Thank God, only few of you. Don't worry, I'm not going to repeat my sermon from last night. But the point that I was making is that every story changes dramatically, depends of where we start the story. And even the ancient rabbis were debating where should we start the Exodus story. One of them, Rav in Babylon, said we should start the story of Passover with Abraham, who came from Mesopotamia, who was a child of idol worshippers. Shmuel said, no, let's just start the story of the Exodus with the evil Pharaoh. I am going to follow the advice of Rabbi Adler this year and start the story with Joseph. Joseph was one of the 12 sons of our third patriarch, Jacob. What's special about Joseph was that he was Jacob's favorite son. What happens when a father loves one son more than he loves the other 11 sons? The 11 sons hate that brother. They hated him so much that one day, when he came to check on them in the desert as they were tending their flock, they decided, whoop, let's kill him. Yes, our ancestors, our people hated one of the brothers so much that they wanted to kill him. So originally they just threw him into a pit full of scorpions and snakes and some other bad stuff. But then they decided, hey, we can even make some money. They took him out of the pit and sold him for 20 shekels into slavery to the Egyptians. So the first Jewish slave we read about in the Bible is Joseph. Already the Midrash tells us that the reason that the people of Israel were enslaved in Egypt was because our ancestors sold one of them, one brother, into slavery. Some people call it karma. In Hebrew, it's called midah keneged midah, measure for measure. So the people of Israel ended up in Egypt because Joseph from slavery rose to be one of the leaders of Egypt in charge of distribution of food. And when his brothers were starving in Israel, in Canaan, they came to Egypt to buy food from Joseph. I'm going to cut some stages of the story. Ultimately, the entire family united in Egypt and lived there happily, but not ever after. They lived there for many years until a new Pharaoh came to power who hated the Jewish people, who hated the Israelites. Initially wanted to get rid of them by killing all the male babies, but then because the midwives refused to do it, he decided to turn them into slaves. His idea was that people who work so hard will not have either the time nor the inclination to make babies. He was completely wrong. The people of Israel kept multiplying very fast. He made their life more and more difficult until they cried out to God, and God sent Moses to free them out of Egypt. Moses initially grew up in the palace of the Pharaoh, but then when he got older, he went to see what was happening, didn't like the whole slavery system, ended up running away. And one day, as he was tending the flock of his father-in-law, he encountered a bush that was set in fire. The bush was burning, but to his amazement, the bush was not consumed. He was waiting for the fire to consume the bush, but nothing happened. And then from the burning bush came a voice, Moses, Moses. First of all, take off your shoes immediately because you are stepping on a holy ground. So Moses took off his shoes because that was the right thing to do. And then the person or the voice from the burning bush told him, I'm God and I have a mission for you. And we're having Cantor Jakob for us to tell us about this mission.
Hey, you gonna give me like lyrics? Got the words for me? Yeah, on the screen. Oh, okay. When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. So Moses went to Egypt's land. Let my people go. To make old Pharaoh understand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Thus said the Lord, bold Moses said, let my people go. If not, I'll strike your firstborn dead. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. As Israel stood by the water's side, let my people go. God's command it did divide, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Let my people go.
I want to acknowledge my husband, Cantor Yaakov Hadash.
That's on one glass of wine. Just wait till 4. You don't know what's going on. Could be anything.
And I also want to acknowledge my ancestors, our ancestors, who created that song because of their deep connection to all of our ancestors. I'm speaking about African Americans and our full communal connection.
Thank you very, very much. That was incredible.
I'm gonna see a mighty king. I'm feeling mighty scared. And Aaron will be there with me, so I'll be well prepared. I've never been too good with words. I stutter and I squeak. My hands are wet, my throat is dry each time I try to speak. I will not be scared about a thing. Oh, I just can't go to the king. I'll be saying, do this. I'll be saying, see them. I'll be saying, stop that. I'll be saying, free them all to live today. Free them all to live God's way. I think it's time for Pharaoh to have a change of heart, or God will make the cows get sick and make the Red Sea part. We'll march right up to Pharaoh and say, let my people go. We'll know exactly what to do if Pharaoh tells us no. We'll tell him of the plagues that God will bring. Oh, we're both gonna go to the king. We'll be saying, do this. We'll be saying, see them. We'll be saying, stop that. We'll be saying, free them. Free the speck for every living thing. Pharaoh, God will bring some plagues that sting. Now this is the final time to sing. Oh, we're both gonna go to the king. Oh, we're both gonna go to the king. Say it with me. And we're both gonna go to the king.
We're so blessed to have so much talent in one room. Wow, thank you, Marcy. Ah, that was a quick transformation. Okay, we need about 4.5 minutes. Do you have it in you before we start? Let's do the 10 plagues. It's part of the program. The tradition is, do you have your pinkies here today? The tradition is to take your pinky, dip it in the wine, and then for each plague, and then to put it on the plate in front of you. Okay, so let's start with the plagues. Let's read them together. Dam, Sfardea, frogs, kinim, lice, arov, wild animals, dever, livestock disease, shchin, boils, barad, hail, arbehem, locust, chosher, darkness, makat bechorot, death of the firstborn. And, oh, you don't want me to lead the next part because we are going to continue with Dayenu. It's probably, yeah, I know, that's the highlight of it. Dayenu was written probably in the Middle Ages. Originally, it has 14 verses. It's super popular, mostly because of the melody. We're not going to do 14 verses, but the idea of Dayenu is quite good. It's the perfect song or prayer of gratitude. We tell God, if you had given us only one thing, Dayenu, that would have been enough. But you were so generous, we gave us this other thing. I want you to think about Dayenu like somebody comes to you, somebody very generous, and you tell that person, you know, if you had given me only these beautiful socks, Dayenu, that would have been enough, but you also gave me shoes. Thank you so much. But had you had given me only these shoes without the pants, that would have been enough, but you also gave me these wonderful pants. And that would have been enough, but you also gave me a shirt. Thank you so much. And then you gave me a tie, and then you gave me a vest. And that's what we are saying to God. Even one thing you had given us would have been enough, but you're so generous. God gave us 14 different things. Ready? Oh, we read it too.
Yeah, read it.
You lead.
If God had taken us out of Egypt and not judged the Egyptians,
Dayenu.
if God had torn the sea in two and not let us through on dry land,
Dayenu.
if God had given us Shabbat and not brought us to Mount Sinai,
Dayenu.
If God had brought us to Mount Sinai and not given us the Torah,
Dayenu.
if God had given us the Torah and not brought us to the land of Israel,
Dayenu.
Dayenu, 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 Dayenu,
Dayenu.
Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. Ilu Hotzianu, Hotzianu, mi Mitzrayim, Hotzianu, mi Mitzrayim, Dayenu. Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. Ilu Natan lanu, et haTorah, Natan lanu, et haTorah, Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. Ilu Natan lanu, et haShabbat, Natan lanu, et haShabbat, Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. I like that. I like new traditions.
It says so much about our synagogue because in most places Purim is the happiest day of the year. For us, it's Passover. But no, that's nice. It's nice to be special. Where are we now? Oh, Rabban Gamliel. Hi, Rabban Gamliel. Rabban Gamliel was one of the leaders of the Jews after the destruction of the temple. Let's read what he said. Rabban Gamliel used to say, all who have not explained the significance of three things during the Pesach Seder have not yet fulfilled their duty. What are they? The three things are the Pesach, remember the Paschal lamb, the matzah, and the maror, the bitter herb. And now I'm going to wash my hands again with a blessing, which means that we are about 90 seconds from food.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam. Oh, I think it's the Kiddush. Oh, second cup.
I rushed the
You promised
sorry,
90
I guess
seconds.
I'm hungry.
Borei peri hagafen.
Woo,
Now we'll do the hand washing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. Amen.
And now we are taking a piece of matzah. This is our official first matzah we eat. The blessing for the matzah for the rest of the festival is exactly the same as the blessing for bread. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Only tonight we're having a second blessing from matzah. Okay? Only during the Seder. The rest of the week just say the regular motzi. So take a shtikal matzah. And please join us in the blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al achilat matzah.
So now we fulfill the mitzvah of eating a matzah. Ay. You know, the frustrating thing, do you know how they made bread at that time? They didn't have yeast the way we have today. They used, it was not even sourdough. The archaeologists found next to almost every bakery, there was a brewery. They use part of the beer. So when you make beer, the thing that is floating on top, they used to put it in the dough, and that made the bread rise. So if they would have taken only 2 more hours, probably would have celebrated with sourdough bread and beer. But they didn't do it. So we will continue with our tradition.
2 more hours, 24 hours
Oh, yeah, 24.
for
Maror.
fancy sourdough.
Bitter herb. Let's take a piece of the maror. I don't know what maror you have there. I got a piece of a real horseradish root. This is going to be quite challenging to take a bite of that, because if I will, you may not see me again.
Sorry, that's
But I don't know what you have there for maror. Oh,
They have the pickled horseradish.
the what?
The
Do you have
jar.
some chazera? Do you have some horseradish?
They have salad.
I think I'll use lettuce, because where I came from, lettuce was super bitter. So let's take the maror and say the blessing.
Baruch
atah Adonai,
Adonai,
Eloheinu
Eloheinu
melech
melech
haolam,
haolam,
asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al
al
achilat.
achilat maror.
Feel free to dip it in salt water. You want some?
Sure.
Not so bad.
Lead.
Okay, and the last thing we are going to do, Hillel. Hillel was a very important rabbi, right? Those of you who remember Hillel from colleges, it's all named after this guy, lived 2,000 years ago, and he used to make a sandwich for his Seder. He would take 2 pieces of matzah, and in between, he would put some of the charoset. Charoset is the sweet stuff. It's made of fruit, nuts, and wine or some other good kosher for Passover alcohol. So that's the sweet part. And you also put a piece of the maror. So you have matzah, and in the middle you have the maror and the charoset. Sorry? So as we're having this Hillel sandwich, we're going to say goodbye and happy Passover to our friends who watched us on live stream. I hope you enjoyed it as we did. And I think it's time to eat. Oh, bye, Maya. I wish you were
Bye,
here.
Katie and Ryan.
I had only 1 glass of wine, so I'm not going to sing you the I Wish You Were Here song. But